Hey YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my review for Gozyuger episode 23. So, this I think was a better episode than we've had recently, like in general. We've had a few more decent ones, or at least decent parts. As I've mentioned in the past few weeks, it feels like the filler has been the A plot, whereas the plot has been the B plot. And thankfully this episode just kind of took the main plot that was lingering from the last episode and went straight through it. And there really wasn't a sudden filler episode in the middle of it, which was really nice. As we continued the Rikuo stuff, and we continued the debut arc for Gozyu Wolf's transformation power-up. It does feel weird because I know that Wolf's mecha isn't a power-up, but because we waited to get his and treated it as special, it feels like, didn't we just get a power-up for him? Which we didn't. And I do feel that it felt rushed. I'm not sure if I would have wanted this arc about Rikuo and the power-up to be one and the same. Kind of also reminding me of Boom 119, where that would have been a nice set of 3-part episodes to debut that whole power-up and mecha set. And it was, but there was also like other episodes in the middle of it. I'm like, this should have been its own thing. Like, I guess the kind of motivation was, and the crux of him getting the power was him standing up for Rikuo and being like, I'm going to protect your dreams or whatever Toku BS, because I don't feel the bond between the characters. I know they're not meant to be fully bonded yet, but everything is so frivolous in this show in regards to that his being like, I don't like you, but I want to protect your dream was just such cliche Toku crap that I just kind of hate. And that's kind of like because he has that attitude and he has the determination to overcome this power-up thing, he gets the power-up. I would have rather this been two separate things. I would have rather married the beginning of this Rikuo arc with the sister stuff for Black, because that's all interconnected, and I think that would make a fascinating multi-parter or long-running arc. And then just kind of kept this episode about Red. Like, if Blue was to get the power-up, if everybody was to get one of these, which I wish they were, who knows, maybe there's a team power-up jacket on the horizon like Boom Boonger, but this power-up I really like, and I would really like to see all of them get it. Like, this episode being about Blue getting his version of this power-up would have made more sense, because it was so much more focused on him. It felt like, how can we put Red in the front and center of this to explain why he gets the form? So, it all felt jumbled, mushed together, and rushed, but at least there was more things happening. Like, this isn't a show where there's a previous history of, like, a track record of strong running episodes, so kind of just being messy and enjoying the little fun parts and the Sentai anniversary stuff is kind of what you get. But it's just disappointing, because it's got a lot of potential. One thing I really did like is we delved into kind of the explanation. I mean, it is the explanation, but there's nothing hugely interesting about it. But the whale gun thing, they're like, oh yeah, it was a tool in the past game that basically would power up a warrior Red, but it would cause them to become berserk and lose themselves. And that's what's happening to Fire Candle, and ultimately results in him getting this monstrous Shinken Red form, which does look like a monstrous form of the Shogun mode, which is a great suit. Probably drives the Sentai purists nuts, which makes me happy. But that's really cool. I kind of hope they use that more. I don't know whether there'll be a case where another Sentai warrior accidentally gets the gun briefly, but that again could have been a cool build-up arc. Imagine an arc where this gun kind of got passed around and it kept corrupting people, and we got these cool monstrous Sentai forms, kind of like the Geo and other writers, and then that led to this form, led to him being the one that can control it. That would have been cool. Who knows? Maybe we will see another Ranger forms, but I'm like, this is so many concepts. Like, right here, you could have had like 10 episodes I'm seeing right here between the Rikuo stuff and the Berserk Reds and the power-up, like, and it's done in like 2.5 or 1.5 episodes. So it's kind of disappointing, but it was really cool to see. I really like that idea. Fire Candle did survive, even though he was defeated. As we know, it's kind of like a Longo situation, and I feel like there's a lot more story to tell with him. A bit disappointed there that he's not holding onto the ring. I liked the idea of him permanently having, not permanently, but you know what I mean, long run having the Shinken Red ring. I think it'd be cool to have more long-running bearers of the rings. Like we had Don Momotaro, that's funny, Don Momotaro at the beginning a little bit with that other guy, but it would have been cool to have a handful of characters, including one of our villains, be a ring holder, and then like have it later in the series that we're like, okay, we gotta get the ring from him, but it's whatever. But like I said, power-up looks really cool. It gets very rushed, the explanation of it and the whole introduction of it, and I like that Kuma was a little bit more involved. Wait, Kuma, I think that's the bear, but what's his name? I forget White Ranger's name. Polar, I'm going to call him Polar right now, because I'm forgetting his name. But I like that he was a little more involved in helping them with, like, explaining what the power-up is, and then at the end, helping them come up with the dumb excuse that, oh no, Rikuo was just doing it all as a ruse. So I like that he was more involved, but he still feels like an afterthought. Like, this week, he reminded me of Sakito, where he's involved, but he still feels so separate. And like last week and the week before when he showed up, I almost forget who he is when he's not there. He's like the Silence, but less cool. So, it's so disappointing because he's a cool character and his suit's really cool. It's just, man, he's got that Six Ranger syndrome of like just kind of being an afterthought, which you'd think they want to put this character in the forefront because usually the Six Ranger is one of the more popular things. So that's a little bit disappointing. I am really curious to see like what the mythology explanations end up being at the end in regards to like Sentai at large. Like I'm giving up on there being a larger interconnected Sentai continuity. There really isn't. There's kind of a just they're connected when they are, they're not when we don't want it, whatever type of crap. But there is little moments of like, them mentioning the Sentai Robo War, which implies that like a version of the Sentai we know were involved, and then they pull out a Juzo thing this week when they're like, oh, it comes from the memory of the ring. And then of course Goju Polar mentions the last battle, and I actually didn't give too much thought. I'm like, was that a whole last generation, or is he just talking about the mecha, or is he talking about a battle between previous people taking up the mantles of Reds? I'm just curious, like, where that's all going to tie in. Like, are we going to find out that all the Sentai worlds were cursed into this? Is that going to come into play at all? Or is it all like it is right now and just window dressing? So yeah, I like this episode for being a little bit more entertaining and actually sticking with the plot, but I couldn't help but feel it was rushed and jumbled together, and I just saw so much potential for this to be stretched out into more episodes and build up more, including, which I almost forgot until this moment, he debuts his mech form too, which is disappointing because Gozyuger was actually pretty good about parsing out the debuts of the mecha and the Rangers at the beginning of the series, and as I just mentioned with Boom 119, I thought it was refreshing that debut parceled out the mecha form and the two mecha forms and the Ranger suit, and it was disappointing that felt tacked on at the end. So yeah, I just wish this show was more, man. But let me know what you thought of the episode as always in the comments. Dawson Ryder, signing out.